Beneath Paris, millions of human bones lie stacked in silence, beneath the living city. Tourists walk above cafés and lights, while death stretches for miles under their feet. This is not legend. Paris is built on a real underground kingdom of skulls and darkness. More than 6 million dead were moved beneath the streets and arranged like a city of death. Under one of the most beautiful cities on Earth, there is a world built entirely from human remains. The catacombs are not a horror story. They are a real place beneath one of the world's great capitals. Paris did not just bury its dead. It reorganized them into tunnels of bone and endless silence.
These are not random graves, and this is one of the largest human bone chambers ever created.
Entire walls beneath Paris are made from skulls, femurs, ribs, and the remains of forgotten centuries.
The deeper you go, the less it feels like history, and the more it feels like entering death itself.
It began when Paris became too full of death to bury safely above the ground.
By the 18th century, cemeteries in Paris were overflowing with bodies, rot, disease, and unbearable stench. Graves collapsed, bones surfaced, and the dead began leaking back into the living city. The city could no longer hide the crisis. Paris was choking on its own dead. Overcrowded burial grounds turned into a public health nightmare, spreading fear across the capital.
Beneath churches and neighborhoods, the weight of the dead had become physically dangerous.
One cemetery became so packed with bodies that walls reportedly burst under the pressure of decay.
The dead were no longer staying buried, and Paris had to do something unthinkable.
So the city looked downward into abandoned limestone quarries beneath the streets of Paris. And Paris made one of the darkest decisions in urban history: move the dead underground.
Night after night, wagons began carrying bones through the sleeping streets of Paris.
The remains of generations were removed in silence and lowered into the earth below the city.
Priests led the process with rituals, but what followed was still a mass relocation of the dead. Bones from cemeteries across Paris were dumped into the tunnels in enormous quantities. At first, the remains were piled carelessly into underground shafts and quarry chambers.
But over time, the piles were reorganized into something far more disturbing.
Workers arranged skulls and bones into walls, patterns, and corridors of human remains.
Death was no longer hidden underground. It was designed into architecture.
The catacombs became not just storage for bones, but a constructed city of the dead. Every skull placed into the wall once belonged to someone who had lived above Paris.
Inside the catacombs, the air is cold, damp, heavy, and unnaturally still. The tunnels stretch for hundreds of kilometers beneath the city, like veins of darkness.
Only a small section is open to the public. The rest remains sealed, dangerous, and largely unknown.
Many of the underground passages are so narrow they feel designed to trap the living.
The walls close in, the ceiling drops, and the silence becomes part of the fear.
Some tunnels end abruptly in collapsed stone, hidden chambers, or black, flooded sections.
Old quarry marks, warning signs, and carved names still remain on the underground walls.
In some corridors, the bones are arranged so precisely, and it feels more ritual than storage.
Entire chambers are lined with human skulls, staring outward from the darkness. The deeper sections feel less like tunnels, and more like a buried civilization of death.
People have entered the forbidden parts of the catacombs and never found their way back.
Paris has a real underground culture of illegal explorers, known for entering sealed sections at night.
Some descend for curiosity and come back changed, panicked, or completely disoriented. In total darkness underground, even a few wrong turns can become a death sentence. In total darkness underground, even a few wrong turns can become a death sentence. Some explorers have reported hearing distant voices where no one should have been.
Others describe cold pockets of air, unexplained sounds, and the feeling of being watched.
Deep underground, the mind begins turning silence into fear, and fear into something worse.
In a place built from the dead, imagination becomes one of the most dangerous things you carry.
The catacombs do not need ghosts to terrify people. The reality is already enough.
What makes the catacombs terrifying is not myth. It is the scale of what is truly down there.
Millions of dead beneath Paris, means the city above is literally resting on human history.
Every elegant street, monument, and café stands above tunnels filled with anonymous remains.
Paris is famous for beauty, romance, and art.
The catacombs expose what cities try to hide, that death never really leaves. It is only moved.
They are proof that modern life can be built directly over layers of forgotten human collapse.
Beneath one of the world's most photographed cities lies a kingdom no one truly controls.
And the most disturbing part is this. Most of the underground network is still closed.
Which means beneath Paris, there are still sealed passages the world has never fully seen.
Paris may look alive above the ground, but below it, the dead still own the city. Paris may look alive above the ground, but below it, the dead still own the city.